Bow hunting is big business across America and now Europe. It's banned in half the countries in Europe, but that's not stopping people buying bows and arrows and heading off to the other half in search of a whole new hunting experience. To give you a taster of what it's all about, one of the best bow hunters in Europe has agreed to teach us all about it on one of the best hunting estates in Europe at one of the most exciting times of year. First up, the incredibly named Max Hunt. He's not just a renowned bow hunter. This Great Dane is a carpenter turned professional hunter, sporting journalist, writer, lecturer and poster boy, appearing on front covers of magazines, adverts and even the new Zauer Rifles catalogue. He's also got a world record, holding the Safari Club International record for a Roebuck with the bow.
Challenge in the hunting. That's what I love, but I'm still just the guy from next door, so that's who I am. And by the way, I'm from Denmark.
Next, the estate. Julia in southwest Hungary has a history spanning centuries, but this now state-owned hunting area is probably best known in recent times for being the location for Boar Fever, a film which saw Prince Franz Albrecht Oettingen Spielberg demonstrating just how quick a Zauer bolt-action rifle can be worked. Finally, the quarry. It's the fallow rut, and this is possibly the best place in the world for fallow deer. They are huge, and during the silly season their displays of aggression and calling must rank amongst the most impressive wildlife spectacles anywhere on the planet. There we have it. So now let's start at the beginning and the bow necessities and maybe dispel a few myths at the same time. We kick off with accuracy and range. Max will only take a shot on animals within 30 metres. However, it is possible to get arrows grouping at 100 metres. He's so confident he says he can outshoot most rifle shots at this distance when they're freestanding and using open sights. To add some extra spice, he parks his new Land Rover Discovery just a few feet from the target. He'd better get this right.
Actually, this is my bow I use for practicing and demonstrating how a bow works. For shooting at distance like 100 yards, it's not typical for hunting. Nobody does it and shouldn't do that. But it's just for showing how the drop of the arrow is and how precise a bow actually is.
Max knows he's pulled the first shot, but the next two show how accurate his Hoyt bow can be in the right hands.
The second you shoot, you know where you're at. That's kind of funny. And I know I missed that one. So that was a mistake by me, the arrow actually. In the second I shot, I felt I was way too far on the left. But the other twos, after we had the first grouping in the bottom, I changed the sight and turned it up and to the left, and now actually the grouping is centered. So now I should turn my grouping or my sight back down so we get the point of aiming and the point of hit in exactly the same spot. But again, this is a grouping at 100 meters, so it shows how precise it actually is to shoot with a bow, and there are many out there bow shooters who actually shoot better than I do.
A target like this offers as much resistance as 3 red deer standing against each other. If you have any doubt about the punch behind these razor-sharp arrowheads, think again.
The main difference between hunting with a bow or with a rifle is actually the contact you have directly to your game. As a rifle hunter, it's more about, it's still hunting, don't misunderstand that, but you're more a shooter with a rifle than you are with a bow, because bow hunting is about hunting, because it's about your bow skills. It's about knowing the species. It's about understanding them and get in on them and choosing the right moment for the right shot.
We'll come back to the bow a little bit later. Let's get out onto the ground for a different hunting experience. Max has already recce'd the site and he takes us to a valley known to be a favourite haunt of the fallow deer. As we reach the top of the valley, the sound from these hormone-fuelled animals gets our adrenaline pumping too.
is, as we are about to hunt for the bow, we have to get even closer now. So we try to find a spot as close as to the epicenter down there as possible.
Because they're all being so vocal, we know when we can take our chance to drop deeper down the slope and find a suitable position that will put us within range.
The first thing I do when I come out is try to figure out where the animals are, try to read the tracks and stuff like that. But the most important thing actually is to know the different distances. As animals are very close, I don't have the time for measuring when the animal comes in or is on the rutting place. So I find some trees I can recognize and take the distance, so know the distance. I try to get the animal within 30 meters, as a shot further than that is not as safe as a shorter shot for me. Now I measured some trees in a line at about 30, so I know if I have the animals within the big trees down there, they're within 30 meters.
As we sit and wait, a young spiker has the nerve to approach a part of slope which we've noticed is a bit of a no-go area. Suddenly we hear a buck we soon refer to as Barry White, telling his does never gonna give you up in a very deep voice. Sensing the party has moved elsewhere, Max thinks that we should do the same.
We hear some big stakes in the background here, so our plan now is to try to get in and try to take a look at them. We try to find a decent stake. It's not that easy because it's very dense, and the bush is very dense, so we'll try to take a walk around and see if we can get in good wind and see if we can find the buck.
We try to be as quiet as possible. The bucks aren't as wary as they would normally be, but our kryptonite is a cautious doe. We need to keep still for minutes on end until the alarm dies down.
It has become quite quiet right now. The main reason might be that we are at the peak of the rut right now. That means the fellows have been active all night. So now the sun is coming up and it's about 10 o'clock now. They have tired and they're lying down in the sun to get rest now. But sometimes we hear them still rutting. So we try to see where they are so we can go to that spot later on when they get up again.
Max's prediction rings true, and we have a weary buck taking the weight off about 50 metres ahead of us.
He's big enough. Actually, he was too small, especially now that he's gone.
With the heat of the day slowing down our feisty bucks, we retreat to the lodge and find out a little more about this hunting ground which has produced some world record animals.
Someone comes to hunt from Hungary and chooses July to do hunting, then we provide excellent hunting opportunities for the three main big game species what we have: the red stags, the fallow deers of course, and the wild boars as well. And if someone chooses July, then he will definitely be a part of our history, to be a part of a territory who owns many world records regarding the fallow bucks. We have more than 5 world records on the CIC rank list, and we have the current SCI world record regarding the wild boars as well. And also in 2005 we could provide the heaviest antlers regarding the red stags within entire Hungary. So if someone chooses July, then he will experience something more than just shooting with a rifle. He will be a part of the history, he will be part of our history, and he will be part of the Hungarian hospitality in our quality lodges, trying our quality food and dishes, and maybe some good Hungarian wines as well.
Max is one of the first people ever to hunt with a bow here, and the estate is opening its doors to other kinds of hunters too, especially those who wouldn't normally be able to enjoy the Julia experience firsthand.
We made a special track be able to use the wheelchair to approaching the special shooting stands, and the whole idea behind this was that we think that hunting is for everybody.
Back to the bow necessities, and it's part 2, the arrow. The observant among you might have seen the arrow quivering a little in the air. There's a reason for that.
Now you might have noticed if the arrow is leaving the bow, it actually spins around its own axis. That's the power of the bow pushing the arrow forward. And it takes some time for the arrow to stabilize in the air. And that can be everything, depending on how powerful the bow is, between 10 and 15, 20 meters. And that's actually the reason why the grouping on short distance can be quite difficult. And the grouping at 25 can be better than on shorter distance, because it takes time for the arrow to stabilize.
As the temperature drops, we drop into a hide just above the hot spot. This is our first evening hunt, so we don't really know what to expect. We might be lucky and have an animal come to us. We spot some bucks again with pop star good looks and an unfazed wild boar. Unfortunately, they are all out of range or behind trees and leaves. The landscape falls silent again, so we have a closer look at this rutting area. Everywhere else is covered in leaf litter and short grass, but here it's been churned up and scraped with a generous sprinkling of wee. Max does a full circle, ending up back at Fallow Central, and we realise that sitting tight is going to be the best option. The bucks might drift away, but they always come back to the same spot. Right now there's a big boy who is setting our pulses racing, though in a healthy outdoor way.
This is totally insane. I haven't seen him yet, but just the sound of hearing him, you can hear the very deep voice of him. Must be an old one. Hopefully old, one of the big ones. Actually, I'm already shaking. I haven't seen him yet. Actually, I'm glad we found them now. We know where they are. And it's somehow, but I'd like to start going now, but I know it's getting too dark now, and I know if we leave him for tonight, he will be there tomorrow morning, so. Let's go home and saddle and get ready for tomorrow morning.
Max is not a stranger to big trophy animals. His SCI record for a Roebuck with the bow was an animal he'd been observing for a while. More than anything, he wanted to show that well-executed fieldscraft can get you close to a wild animal, in this case 7 meters.
My goal was actually trying to show people what I'm capable of doing by stalking. And I went to a guy who had some few experience with bow hunting, and I went there and we went hunting, and I got in on a Roebuck on 7 meters in an open field, gave him a perfect shot, and it was a very nice trophy as well. And actually we found out afterwards it was a new world record for bow and arrow. So, but actually the whole story was about stalking and making it possible to get that close.
Arriving back at the lodge, a fellow hunter has shot an impressive buck from a high seat with a rifle. Julia has once again delivered a magnificent trophy, and Max feels it must be close to a gold medal. It's a great achievement, but Max wonders which of us is actually having the most fulfilling experience and getting closer to nature in the raw.
Now it's our 3rd day here, and actually we arrived with some other hunters here, rifle hunters, and actually we are the only team who hasn't got any animal on the deck yet. But actually I think we are the one who learned most about the fallow deers, because we are the one who saw the most, and by sitting out there and having the animals within 50 meters or 20 meters at some times, we learn from them. We see how they react, and we see on the moves how they react on different sounds. Because some of the other hunters that came here, rifle hunters, experienced hunters as well, they shot on the first morning and the first fallow deer they saw. So by using the time on the species, I think you become a better hunter. But that's not just about bow hunting, you can do that with a rifle as well. So taking the time for being out there and learning from the animals, I think that's quite important to become a better hunter.
Understanding your quarry is vitally important if you want to consider bow hunting. Take this example of Max shooting a roe deer at 25 metres. Let's slow it down and mark the top of the back of the animal and highlight the flight of the arrow. Because the sound of the bow travels faster than the arrow, the roe reacts before the arrow gets to it, so Max has to shoot 6 inches below the intended target. This is atypical of a roe, but with bigger species it won't be so exaggerated. Our next 2 outings are as incredible as the last. There is no falling asleep in this environment, and if you do, you always know when they're about. With hearts beating out of our chests, a few shots present themselves, but does, foliage and range get the better of us. The wildlife spectacle continues. Twice, big kylers nearly run into us as we stay low and still in the undergrowth. And we even get a chance to see the elusive Barry White. He's big and old for a reason. So, in the final part of our short series on bow necessities, that joke will run and run, let's talk about the bow itself.
When I go hunting, I choose a 70-pound bow. Pound means the effort I have to put in the bow to draw it back. To compare that to something in the shooting industry, I would compare it to 300 Winchester Magnum, because I can take the same species with 70 pounds that most hunters do with their 300 Winchester. But many people out there can't draw 70 pounds, and it's not necessary to use a 70-pound bow. Because I know people who shoot 45 and 50-pounded bows who still penetrate on red stacks and kudus on 20 and 25 yards. So it's not about the draw weight, it's about where you put your arrow.
It's our last outing and the pressure is on. Every inch of this ground and the animals on it are now comfortingly familiar. The fallow bucks have become more than just quarry. We are studying them, trying to understand them, watching their wonderful behaviour in this glorious Hungarian classroom. We even feel on first name terms with Barry, and when we decide that he must be the animal we need to take, he's nowhere to be found.
Actually, that's how hunting is. Staying out here and being out here. We never know what we get, but still I think it has been a great experience, because we saw tuskers, we saw big stacks, small stacks, we saw their behavior and how they react on each other. I think I learned a lot again, and for me it has been 3 good days of hunting.
Max loves hunting with a bow, and this was a chance for us to see what all the fuss is about. Are there questions about animal welfare? There are always questions about animal welfare. What we say is, don't knock it until you try it. This was the most exciting, raw, challenging hunting adventure we have ever filmed for Fieldsports Channel. If you want to find out more about Max and to follow his adventures, please check out his website, maxhunt.eu. And if you want to book some stunning hunting in southwest Hungary, visit juliazrt.hu. If you are watching this on YouTube, click on either of the links on screen to go to Max's and to Julia's YouTube channels.